that's over. I, you know, so I'm wearing the jersey of the team that showed up tonight to play. Spoiler, and I get it. I get it. It's been a long season. Players are tired, and for the teams that are outside of the playoffs, they're having a hard time getting up for these games. I get it because the Kings announcer said it. It felt like it was every 5 minutes, but I think it speaks even greater to just what the Senators have been able to do. And I know there are people who are going to say, well, that's because it's in the North and it doesn't matter. Listen, these guys have been playing games that don't matter in the standings for months, and they've won a lot of them. And it's easy to discount what they do when they have rough games like they did the other night. They had a rough night, but the work is always there. And so when I'm watching 4 games tonight, and I don't know what happens here either, because there should have been motivation at least at the beginning for Minnesota. May not have been that may not have been the issue. Husso may very well have been the huge difference maker. But again, California, it looks like is going to decide the President's Trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm willing to call it tonight. President's Trophy winner is going to be Colorado. I don't see how LA recovers from this. And I don't know. But again, let's start off with Toronto and Ottawa, because that was the game that started first. And again, the Sens had some early jump in this game. They looked good right out of the gate. The Leafs get a power play. It ends up with no shots. Matthews had a backhander that was stopped. The Sens get a power play then after that. And then my favorite comment of the night, and I couldn't let it go. I could, but I can't, is that the Sens are a heckle and jive team. And I was like, they're what? So yeah, heckle and jive. And that's fine. That's what I will use that terminology going forward, because I think that sounds great. But he's right. The Sens started off this season as just really, really bad. And I think for people who aren't watching the North, you might still think, well, they're still bad. Or when they win the games like this, you say, oh, they're just, they're against Northern teams. So, But next year, they're going to be interesting to watch. Shots were 6-3 for the Sens with 9 minutes left. The Leafs press. They draw a power play. It's unsuccessful. And the Sens penalty kill with that one had killed off 31 of their last 33. Very good penalty kill for Ottawa. Their defensive numbers getting better. Stützle had a chance. That draws a power play for the Sens. During that power play, there was a shorthanded chance for Marner. So they don't score on it, but Zaitsev would score before the period's out from Pinto at 18:52. Shane Pinto's been pretty good as well. And so that's post and in for Zaitsev against his former teammates. Second period, early press by the Leafs. There was more Leafs pressure, draws a power play, and they would score on that power play. Muzzin from Thornton and Kerfoot at 6:01. The Sens then get a power play. We get 36 seconds of 4-on-4, which leads to a Leafs power play. And guess what? Shorthanded goal. Guess who gets it? Connor Brown at 9:07. Shorthanded, Connor Brown's fantastic. And you can see him kind of laughing after. Like, I don't know. Maybe just every time he goes out on the ice, just say, we're shorthanded. And he'll be a 60-goal scorer. I don't know what it is. That was weird. We were shorthanded, but there were 5 of us out there. Yeah, every time you go out on the ice, Connor, we're shorthanded. Just go for it. Sens finish off the kill, and then Kelly, in his first game, gets his first goal from Brandstrom and Anisimov at 12 minutes and 14 seconds. So the Sens were up 3-1. Not too shabby. The Leafs get a power play. That's killed off. There was a shorthanded chance for Connor Brown because there has to be. Tavares then scores from Nylander and Muzzin at 16:29. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4, but it's 3-2 Ottawa going into the third period. In the third period, Gustafsson stopped a chance for Hall. The shots were 4-3 for the Sens at 8.5 minutes. They get a power play. That was a no. And then late in the period, who gets a goal? Austin Matthews. 17:22 gets his 41st of the year. So that's 41 games for Matthews. Not too 41 goals for Matthews. Not too shabby. And that forces overtime. Overtime lasted that long. So 9 seconds in, Norris scores from Tkachuk, and that was on a Marner turnover. Marner kind of drops the puck back, and Tkachuk said, no, I'm not falling for that. Passes it over to Norris, and your overtime winner, 23, 28, and 5 was the record for Ottawa after their final game. Kudos to the Ottawa Senators. Can't wait to watch them next year. The Toronto Maple Leafs dropped to 35, 13, and 7. They had a chance to move up and maybe be President's Trophy winners if these teams weren't successful tonight. But with that loss in overtime and then what happens here, they don't have a chance for the President's Trophy, but they still have a chance to move up in their final game on Friday against Winnipeg. So 3 stars, Norris, Connor Brown, and Muzzin. Shots, 10-6 Ottawa in the first, 18-12 Toronto in the second, 9-5 Toronto in the third. 1 shot in the overtime. That's the one that matters. 9 seconds in, of course, it's the only shot. Final shots, 33-28 for Toronto. Power plays, Toronto goes 1 for 5. Ottawa 0 for 4. Hits, 28-27 for Ottawa. Blocked shots, 15-11 for Ottawa. Freddie Anderson will be the backup to start the playoffs. I'm calling it now. Friday's game against Winnipeg. Campbell's supposed to be the starter. Clearly, it's Campbell's net. Gustafsson, 30 saves on 33 shots. He's going to be one of the 2 goalies in Ottawa next year. We'll see what they do. But, yeah, quite the game for Ottawa. And for Toronto, no reason for concern. But thank you, Ottawa, for coming out in your last game and showing some spirit. Sharks. Now, to be fair, the Sharks have been getting steamrolled by Vegas all year. So this may just be a continuation of that. For Vegas, they had to win tonight and they had to get some help from the Kings, to which the Kings, when reached, would have just laughed and said, yeah, whatever. So the shots were 4-1 for Vegas 3 minutes in. It was obvious quite early in all 3 of these games that one team showed up and one team didn't. Pietrangelo scores at 3:52 to make it 1-0. Vegas then presses at 5 minutes, and eventually they get another one. It's Colasar from Roy. That line has been excellent since being thrown together. I believe it's Tuck that's on their wing, and that's at 7:48. Janmark then almost makes it 3-0 not too long after that. Vegas gets a power play. That was a no. And again, coming out of this game, so Vegas, great game, perfect game, but that power play is just, it's not. So while we're telling Connor Brown, hey, pretend you're shorthanded, tell Vegas to pretend they're 5-on-5, and there's just some extra space out there. Maybe they're overthinking it. It's weird to see them with an lopsided score like this, and they can't score 5-on-4. Best Vegas chance was right after that power play ended. Again, which tells me a lot of this now is mental for them. Vegas gets right back to the power play, which led to a shorthanded break for Marleau. And I'll be honest, I was kind of thinking, if Marleau scored in this game, it might be his last game. That'd be awesome. Doesn't happen. But that power play is killed off. So we go to the second period. Early, Carrier kind of gets this out of reach. He scores from Tuck and Carlson at 3:05. And as I wrote underneath that, there's not a lot of tension here. And it wasn't just about this game. It was kind of across the board at this point. I was like, oh, it's one of those nights. Vegas pressed at the 5-minute mark. And eventually they get a goal. It's Marchessault from Smith and Whitecloud at 7:04. They'd get another power play after that, and again, the power play cannot connect. In the third period, the shots favored the Sharks through the first 2 minutes, so that's something, right? And then Sakura scores from Janmark and McNabb at 4 minutes and 10 seconds. That's Sakura's first as a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. They stated it was the second of his career. I have no reason to think it's not the second of his career. Power play for Vegas, again, it's a no. But it means at least the Sharks' penalty kill was holding tonight. Not much else was. Sharks pressed at the half. Doesn't matter. Sakura scores his second of the game from Coughlin at 12:16. The Sharks then get a power play. That was their only power play of the game. Of course, it doesn't score. And it was men versus boys out there. Vegas has won all 8 games against San Jose. Play a huge role in San Jose missing the playoffs. Vegas 40-14-2. Their season's done. Regular season. San Jose 21-28-7. And I got to admit, there's a selfish reason that I wanted Vegas to win. Maybe Colorado loses. So I would know tomorrow morning who was facing who in the West. We'd have all the teams figured out. And we'd be able to start thinking about who's going to face who in the playoffs. But it doesn't work that way. 3 stars, Sakura, Tech, and Fleury. So Sakura, Tuck, and Fleury. That's the STF. So somebody's a wrestling fan and came up with those 3 stars. Nice. Well played, the STF. Shots, 20-6 Vegas in the first, 15-7 Vegas in the second, 9-6 Vegas in the third. They took their foot off the gas in the third and still got 2 goals from fourth liners, both of them from Sakura. Power plays, or the final shot totals were 44-19 in favor of Vegas. Power plays, Vegas 0 for 4, San Jose 0 for 1. Hits, 28-13 San Jose. Block shots, 13-12 for Vegas. Fleury saves all 19 shots for his 67th career shutout. Melnichuk saves 38 out of 44 at the other end. And so for San Jose, rough go. Really, really rough go. Next up, and this one I think was worse. So they're both the same score, but I think LA played worse overall, and yet, I don't know, the shots are close. It's almost the same, but man, was LA flat to start this. And again, it's a statement too that both Colorado and Vegas had something to play for tonight, right? But still, as an underdog or as a team that's out of the playoffs, go out there and try to spoil it. Go out there, play them hard. And I'm used to that. I'm used to seeing teams when they're out of the playoffs maybe play spoiler a little bit. You end up being out of the playoffs because you're not one of the better teams in the league in most cases, but still, it just wasn't there. Early power play for the Avs, that did not succeed. No shots for the Kings at 6 minutes. Little did I know that was going to be the storyline of the first period. Kings weren't getting out of their own end, so I'm flipping between these 4 games, and every time I go to the Kings game, I'm like, oh, they're still in their own end. And still in their own, and still in their own end. Peterson was sharp. The Kings were not. There were close calls in that first half of that period. The Kings were surviving it, but Peterson was the only one that looked like he was ready to play the game. No shots for the Kings through 11 minutes, so Peterson's the only reason it's scoreless. Kings press, but they don't get any shots while they're pressuring. The shots were 9-0 with 6 minutes left. The Avs then get a power play. No shots yet for the Kings. Donskoy from Burakovsky and Rantanen at 14:43, and then at 16:02, Belmar. He scores from Magna and Sherwood. Kings still had no shots after 2 goals are scored by Colorado. You have to think Cal Peterson's looking up at the scoreboard, looking at his teammates and thinking, there's nothing I can do. Unless they give me another stick, so I can play goal with one stick, and with the other stick in the other hand, I can play forward. I don't see us getting a goal tonight. So, Kings finally got a shot in the final 2 minutes. In fact, they ended up with 3 on the period, so flurry of activity for them. Comfer then scores, though, from Rantanen and Landeskog at 19:15, and with 16.3 seconds left, the Kings get a power play. Starting the second period, the Avs finish off the kill. Of course they do. Power play for the Avs then. They don't score on that one, but Comfer scores the second of the game from Taves at 4:16. JT Comfer, very happy to get to play on a top line tonight. So, he did, and he took advantage of it. Grubauer made a stop on Mikey Anderson, which I thought was noteworthy because there weren't very many shots getting through. So Grubauer making the saves when he needed to. Landeskog then scores from Taves and Rantanen at 10:03. So it's 5-0, and it's only halfway through the game. And let's see, this one, it was only 4-0 halfway through the game in this one. So clearly, Kings had 8 shots. Avs had 5 goals at that point. So, yeah, that's, again... and then Comfer scores from Nichushkin at 11:47. That's his first career NHL hat trick. So after the second period, there was some discussion on the show I was watching of it. I was watching the broadcast from Bally's, the LA broadcast. There was some discussion about whether or not they take out Peterson because, they play again tomorrow, but they didn't take Peterson. Why don't take Peterson out? So third period, Kings get their 12th shot of the game early in the period. They only had 11 through the first 2. Roy had a break, couldn't get one, so it's Roy here. Power play for the Kings. Of course, that didn't end up succeeding. Grubauer was solid when he was tested. The Avs get a power play. That's killed off, but the Avs really did take their foot off the gas and did not score a goal in the third, whereas Vegas had the 2 in the third because they like scoring goals. They don't care what period it is. 3 stars in this one. I guessed. So before the app actually had the stars, I was like, all right, it's a Colorado game. It may take a while. Comfer, Rantanen, and Grubauer. And I got them all right. So that's why they're in purple. I was like, all right, this is, Comfer with the hat trick, Rantanen with a few assists, and Grubauer with the shutout. Here you go. Shots, 14-3 Colorado in the first, 13-8 Colorado in the second. Either that or Gary's got that camera on me again. 10-7 Colorado in the third. Final shots, 37-18 for Colorado. Power plays, LA goes 0 for 2. Colorado goes 1 for 4. Hits, 10-9 Colorado. It was a heavy-hitting game. So, you have 40 shots here, 55 shots here, 41 hits here, 55 here, 19 in this one. This one had 69 hits. I'm not sure where they were, but there were 69 hits in this game. Blocks, 15-13 for Colorado. So Peterson saves 30 out of 36. No mercy rule for him. And Grubauer saves all 18 shots for his 18th career shutout and the 7th of this season. So Grubauer finishing up solid. I would think Johansson plays tomorrow, although since they want the President's Trophy, and I'm not sure why. I mean, you know, it's a big deal, the President's Trophy, until the President's Trophy winner loses in first round or second round. And then everybody says, I don't know why they wanted the President's Trophy. It's just a giant jinx. So we're all going to, you know, I got the trophy. Woohoo, we won the trophy. Why are we out? Because you won the trophy. You just do that. So, sort of like, I want a vacation to Crystal Lake. Why doesn't anybody want the vacation to Crystal Lake? Who's the guy with the mask? Is he the greeting committee? Yeah, that's what he is. All right. Next up, this is way longer than I thought it was going to be. I really didn't anticipate this was going to take long at all. St. Louis, Minnesota, rounding out tonight's action. This game looked like Minnesota might be in it. And if you look at the shots and you look at the hits, they were in it. But then you look at the scoreboard and... So this kind of raises a question. We'll see if tomorrow, if Minnesota comes out and has a better performance and result. The good news is that now St. Louis has got a decent amount of points, and going into the playoffs, they should feel pretty good about themselves. It looks like they're going to play Colorado. So if it's Vegas and Minnesota, Colorado and St. Louis, that should be interesting, because Vegas had a lot of problems with Minnesota this year. Not a lot of problems against almost anybody else in the division, but Minnesota they did. So maybe, I don't know, some 4D chess going on here we don't see yet. So Kaprizov jammed on an early shot. The press was by the Wild 4 minutes in. They came out of this very well. Ville Husso played a very good game. O'Reilly was denied by Talbot. The shots were 5-3 for the Wild 8 minutes into this game. The Blues press, Soucy had a stick break there, so it's when you're basically 5 on 4.5, and sometimes that can lead to a goal. Wild get a power play. That was a no. The Wild power play is becoming a problem again. So it was awful, and then it was great, and now it's kind of back to being mediocre to just bad. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, but it's cooled off at the absolute worst possible time. The Wild then watched as Thomas was stymied by Talbot, but not for long. Barbashev scores. I almost said Barabanov, like there was anything from San Jose tonight. Barbashev scores from Perron and Parayko at 12:54, and then not long after that, Jaden Schwartz. He gets a goal from Kyrou and Shen at 14:40. The Wild go back on the power play, chance to answer, and that was a no. Second period. Early chance for the Wild. Husso stopped a good chance for Bonino not long after that. And then Krug. Torrey Krug, only his second goal of the season. I think he's been pretty good for St. Louis, but he should be scoring more goals than he has so far this year, so maybe this is a sign he's heating up for the playoffs. He scores from O'Reilly and Perron at 9 minutes and 56 seconds. There was extended 4-on-4, and then Perron would score from Krug at 13 minutes and 10 seconds, and that's a 4-on-4 goal. So Krug with a goal and an assist. Good game for him. Perron with a goal and a couple of helpers. The Wild would try to answer, but Husso stopped everything they threw at him. Samford then nearly gets one for St. Louis. We go to the third period. The problem I had with the third period was simple. So you're down 4-0. You want to see some kind of urgency from Minnesota. Didn't feel like there was any. It may very well have been they knew what was going on with Vegas, Colorado, and they kind of went, eh. But I don't know. This just it feels off to me that you've got people paying to watch these games in the American locations, and one team doesn't show up. And it's got to be somewhat frustrating, in this case, especially in San Jose, where you're like, man, I'm glad to get back to watching a game, and then you watch your team get destroyed. It's got to be tough. But yeah, shots were only 2 apiece at the halfway mark. The Wild would get a power play in the second half. It doesn't score. I don't know what to say. St. Louis didn't have a power play. They didn't need it. They win this game 4-0. They go to 26-20-9. Minnesota drops to 35-15-5. They round it out tomorrow night in St. Louis. There's only the 3 games tomorrow. And just personally, I don't know. I don't know what to make of the games that are remaining. But it feels like the northern teams, there's the effort. I watched Ottawa tonight. I was like, that's what I wanted to see from other teams. It just wasn't there. 3 stars. Husso, Perron, and Krug. So Husso with his first career shutout. Kudos to him on that. Shots actually favored Minnesota in this game. 13-11 in the first, 14-12 in the second. Both teams had 4 shots in the third period. Final shots, 31-27 Minnesota. Minnesota had all 3 power plays. Didn't score on those. Hits were 38-31 for St. Louis. There were 5 blocks apiece in this game. 5 block shots by each team. Talbot saves 23 out of 27. Husso saves all 31 shots for that first shutout. And again, I don't know what message to take from anything we saw tonight. I don't think there's anything. This is why I'm not, for anybody who's wondering, I do usually still update the power rankings after the last power rankings are done because there's still games going on. I can't take anything out of these games. I can absolutely look at this game and say, you know what, Ottawa came out and played a really good game. I can't take anything out of these. I can take that Minnesota might be entering the playoffs being a little bit cold, but that's going to affect how I call whoever they play. It's going to be Vegas now. Because again, unless LA comes out and shows something tomorrow night they didn't tonight, yeah, Colorado should just be able to sleepwalk their way to winning the division and the President's Trophy. Now, for Colorado fans who are going to say it, the last time Colorado won the President's Trophy was 2000-2001. They did win the Cup that year, and so it hasn't been a jinx to Colorado. So there's that. But we'll see how it goes. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video, and we are only a couple of days away from when playoff action starts. I don't know when they're going to release the full schedules. I know that the NHL teams want to hear the full schedules. Fans who want to be able to buy tickets and watch the games and figure this all out want to know the schedules. They haven't come out with it yet. All right. But I'll be here to report on it when they do. And I'm well aware that today the Seattle Kraken signed their first player. I think that kind of deserves its own video. So I will discuss that in a video tomorrow. So it's not that I forgot or it fell through the cracks. All right. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, I'm looking forward to the playoff games and not seeing a lot of these lopsided results. And again, kudos to the Ottawa Senators. I will talk to you guys again soon.